Hey everyone, have you ever heard a single sentence that completely changed the course of your life? I mean, a sentence that didn't just give you an idea, but ignited a fire inside you that never went out. For me, that sentence came from a professor almost 2 decades ago. And it's why I'm here talking to you in English today. But back then, I was a 19-year-old university student in Iran, studying industrial engineering. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. My future felt as blurry as an old photograph. Alright, so we had this one professor whose classes were legendary, not just because of the subject, but because of his stories. He had a PhD from a Canadian university and he lived there for years. He had this amazing way of teaching. He'd stop about 15 minutes before the bell and say, "Okay, now I want to teach you a life lesson." And he'd tell us these incredible stories about his past experiences. That was the part we all waited for. So as I recall, he told us that 2 things had truly changed his life. First, learning the English language, and second, learning how to code and design databases. He said he had made so much money from these skills that he could easily live the rest of his life without working another day. So, to be honest, for a bunch of broke college students, that was a huge inspiration. It was like he was dropping an inspiration bomb on us every time we walked into class. We'd leave feeling like we could conquer any hardship and achieve anything we set our minds to. It was incredibly motivating, and I absolutely loved it. Around that same time, our professor and the university decided to do something really ambitious. They got funding to buy the original English version of our physics textbook, the main reference for our course. So the goal was to get us used to reading English right from the start. I'll never forget the day it all changed for me. It was a quiet autumn afternoon in his class, and the professor asked us what was on our minds. One of the girls spoke up, her voice full of frustration. She said, "Professor, what's the point of this English physics book? We're already struggling with the passion one. How we are supposed to read a book in English?" After that, the look on his face, it was a mixture of regret and astonishment. He was silent for a moment. Then he looked at her and said, in a voice that was both firm and full of conviction, "Even if you don't have money for your dinner, you should get this book. Learning English is more essential for you than your next meal." So honestly, to a bunch of broke 19 and 20-year-olds, those words were hard to grasp. We were just starting out, but they stuck with me. They resonated in a way I couldn't explain, and they've stayed in my memory ever since. Time passed, and by chance, our professor also taught our specialized English class. Back then, my English was non-existent. My vocabulary was limited to what I learned in high school, which wasn't much. So his first rule was simple but terrifying. No one was allowed to speak a single word of passion in his class. Every question, every answer had to be in English. To be honest, for most of us, even a single sentence was a struggle. But with every class, he kept encouraging us, telling us that English was a tool for the modern world. And the more time that passed, the more I felt something changing inside me. I wanted to learn the language, not for grade, but for myself. Yeah, so this was about 19 years ago. The internet wasn't what it is today, you know. Online resources weren't a thing. And private language schools were so expensive, I couldn't even consider them. I was a student living on a tight budget. So I started with what I had, that specialized English textbook from our university. I treated it like a mission. It would take me hours, just to understand a single paragraph. I had this one printed English to Persian dictionary, no online dictionaries, no Google Translate. I would literally dissect the textbook, pulling out every new words and phrase. I'd write them all down on a sheet of paper with their Persian meanings, then review them every single day. So after I finished that first textbook, I found out about a new book called 504 Absolutely Essential Words. The day I got it, I felt completely defeated. I only understand a handful of words inside. But I'd made a promise to myself. I kept at it, just like before. I was getting better, but I was also running into a new problem. A serious problem. A money problem. My student allowance wasn't enough to live on. I was a broke college kid and I needed to find a way to make money. But I couldn't stop learning English. I knew I had to find a way to do both. And then, one day, it hit me. To find out what happened, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell for the next part. Thank you so much.